Dear everybody, and welcome my fellow uncouth Americans. I am Shannon as a shining star. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe, you lazy bastards. Thank you. Salem, part 1 of 2. The settlement for this area was in 1626 on native fishing grounds called Neumkig. Again, forgive me if I say it wrong, as always. This new colony outpost was the furthest reach of the colonies for this area. This tiny isolated town was so fucking bored and gossipy. You have the ever-growing population booming as well. They declared it Salem, an Israeli word for city of peace, a new world of God and tolerance. We shall see. If you recall in my other videos about Halloween versus Puritans versus Celts versus any other Catholic-based peoples, you will note that not every colony was accepting of the bigger stuff, like holiday celebrations. Women and children were to be seen and not heard. Work was next to godliness, and the Bible was the law of man. Particularly the law of this town. They also didn't believe in basic entertainment, songs outside of psalms, or even too loud of the singing of a holy psalm. The blasphemer! Oh. You couldn't, there was no dancing, no reading, that is, if it wasn't the Bible, particularly for women. The audacity to read for one's entertainment and pleasure. Silly girls and their ideas. And for further elaboration on the no dancing and their strict rules about music, go watch my mini-series Demons, Devils, and Gods in American Music. It's about 11 episodes or so. Enjoy. No luxury or flashy items in the home, because having nice things distracts oneself from a pious existence. Plus, I think they kind of just told themselves that under the idea that they couldn't bring all their materialism across the pond, or had to sell it, who knows. You know, like Robinson Crusoe, as primitive as can be. They also frowned upon certain children's games. Yes, they hated anything that provoked the sinful act of having fun. Those bastards. Oh my goodness, seriously, the only thing allowed was harmful gossip for the pastime of these townies. And it's amazing how preachers and men in general didn't care for what women said until it benefited them. Sorry, there was my rant. I digressed. Back to the thing. I'm sorry. There were some country folk that lived on the town's outskirts and remained healthy, generally happy, strong people. They had better complexions, even plentiful food. Go figure, right? With all of this in mind, the Puritans believed that if anyone breaks rank of social structure by any means, then it is a sign that Satan himself was recruiting the good Christians. And between the wars with French and the natives, along with poor nutrition, the colonists were shrouded in fear of uncertainty for survival. The people of Salem began to feel the afflictions of witch hysteria brought over from another rampant witch hunt in England. 1692, 11-year-old Abigail Williams and 9-year-old Elizabeth Parris, the niece of Samuel Parris, the minister of Salem at the time, they started to flail their bodies, contorting and panicking of hallucinations and screaming fits. Ah! The local physician, Dr. William Griggs, diagnosed this as witchcraft. And there were, in my journey through this, there were some notes of secret dancing in the woods for the maids to gain lovers, in a life where marrying well meant everything, and so that kind of added to his diagnosis. The Reverend Samuel Parris's neighbor, Mary Sibley, told an enslaved black woman whom was the Reverend's servant, her name was Tituba, she was told to bake a witch cake, feed it to a dog, in order to seek out the bad witch responsible for the girl's afflictions. And this in turn branded Tituba in casting witchcraft herself. No one ever heard of fighting fire with fire? Come on, boys. Honestly. A warrant is issued for the Barbados slave Tituba. The Reverend beat poor Tituba and other untold tortures for weeks until Tituba confessed. I found a mess of records for Tituba, by the way. Apparently she was arrested, released, arrested again, and sometime in her holding, she fell away from record. There wasn't even a record of the death. I couldn't find it. If anyone knows, please, by all means, drop it in the comments. Oh, so sad. Ann Putnam, Mercy Lewis, Elizabeth Hubbard, Mary Walcott, and Mary Warren, again, sorry for getting names wrong, were all afflicted with the same symptoms and accused not only poor Tituba, but dear homeless beggar Sarah Good, and poor elderly lady Sarah Osborne. And soon, as the good lambs of God should, they followed suit of the young girls in their defense, and began pointing fingers at these poor women, as well as other defendants, including Sarah's own husband, Sarah Good's husband, in order to keep distance of his own accusations. Sarah Good was executed by hanging July 1692. Her last words were, in defense of her mortal soul, that is, "You are a liar. I am no more witch than you are wizard. If you take my life away, God will give you blood to drink." But this did not stop her from pointing a finger at Sarah Osborne right there in the courtroom. Now, according to a few of these findings, Sarah Osborne was not only a poor woman, but had a horrible social standing as well, amongst the other people. Being foul-mouthed and rude or crude, like every other aggravated redhead poor woman. Fuck. I loved the monologue in The Crucible with Daniel Day-Lewis. Oh, every time. Oh, and don't get me started. Let me make sure I get her name. The actress that played Tituba, Charlene Woodard. Gut-wrenching. She transports you into that moment of what would Tituba had said in the moment if she actually had the freedom to say what she just was bleeding in her soul. I can never get over that movie. I love it. Winona Ryder, go look at it, go watch it. It's a movie 96, 97 called The Crucible. Please, I beg of you. And you know what? As the Irish say, the bigger the Bible, the bigger the hypocrite. No? By the end of the Salem trials, 19 people were hanged, 5 died in custody. My own ancestor was in the Salem witch trials. His name was George Jacobs. He died reciting the Our Father, that's the Lord's Prayer, at 85 years old. His accusers were his daughter-in-laws and one of their daughters. They all stood to gain a lot of land in the event of his death, being married to his sons. It's just, I mean, his crime was being successful in life. He lived to be 85 in that era. That meant he was blessed with health, again, success, good land. That was his crime. And women preyed on men too. Wasn't just men getting witches. Women were just as guilty for the hunt. I'm done. Oh, I'm so done. So you know what? I wrote this down perfectly. Sluncher to Salem today. A town now run by witches as a big California howdy to its deplorable past. Slime bitches. I mean, witches.